A packed hearing at the Washington State Capitol. State lawmakers want Washington to join the majority of other states in getting rid of personal exemptions for vaccines.
Well, we are about to spring forward, but some Washington lawmakers want us to stop changing the clocks. Just go to KREM.com/vote to let us know what you think.
Tracking dry weather for your Thursday, but another weather system is headed our way just in time for the weekend. I'll tell you when it arrives next.
If you're going to have a child in a public congregate setting like a school or child care, we think that folks expect to have an environment that is safe for children to be in. And that safe environment is one where folks have been vaccinated.
Washington State Secretary of Health and other health officials are backing a move to eliminate some of the reasons parents can avoid giving their children vaccines. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Whitney Ward. Today, children are allowed to attend public school without getting vaccines as long as their parents cite personal or philosophical objections. But a proposal in Olympia would eliminate those exemptions. Here's Drew Mickelson.
The state now has 64 confirmed cases of measles, 9 new ones in the last week, mostly from Clark County and in children who have not been vaccinated. Washington is one of a third of U.S. states that allows parents to opt out of vaccines for personal and philosophical reasons.
These exemptions are so broad that they render our state more vulnerable to outbreaks than most other states.
Senator Annette Cleveland represents Clark County and wants to take those exemptions off the table for parents who want to place their children in public schools.
We are talking about injecting free citizens with a product they have no control over.
Hundreds signed up to testify against the bill. Many raised concerns about state lawmakers deciding what's right for their children.
There is a social contract that comes with living in a society, and ultimately health policy needs to be evidence-based, not emotion-based.
Pediatrician Dr. Robin Rogers told senators the best form of prevention is a vaccination. And State Secretary of Health John Weisman testified vaccinating the general public ensures those who cannot receive them are protected, like those with compromised immune systems, pregnant women, and newborns.
If you're going to have a child in a public congregate setting like a school or child care, we think that folks expect to have an environment that is safe for children to be in. And that safe environment is one where folks have been vaccinated.
Now, it's not clear if this Senate bill or a similar one in the House will end up passing, but Governor Inslee says he does support eliminating those two exemptions.
While the bill may not impact the current measles outbreak, just news of the outbreak has increased the vaccination rate in some counties.
Well, today the Washington State House passed a bill to raise the legal age to buy tobacco to 21. Attorney General Bob Ferguson tweeted out the announcement saying it had bipartisan support. Supporters call it a step toward eliminating youth smoking. It now heads to the state Senate.
A Portland-based comedian whose tweets about his encounter with Border Patrol agents in Spokane is making new claims about what asylum documents he was supposed to have with him. U.S. Customs and Border Protection says the two documents that Mohammed El-Sheikhi showed up with were not considered legal for verifying his asylum status. In a new interview, El-Sheikhi claims that it's not necessary to carry those papers. So we wanted to know, what is the truth? KREM 2's Amanda Rowley has the story.
A U.S. Customs and Border Protection spokesperson says when questioned about his citizenship, Mohammed El-Sheikhi gave them a work permit and an Oregon driver's license. They say those are not legal for verifying his status as an asylum seeker, but El-Sheikhi disagrees.
In his interview with Salon, a news and politics website, El-Sheikhi says asylum approval is 4 pages with a big tarp attached to them. He says you can't carry those papers in a wallet because of this, or in his backpack out of concern for losing it. He also pointed out the Border Patrol's latest website update says you do not have to carry your papers because they are available electronically. In regard to the paperwork being too much to carry, Border Patrol spokesperson Bill Kingsford says since El-Sheikhi has been granted asylum, he would have had this form, I-797A. At the bottom of the page is a small portion, which is the I-94 form, the paperwork showing that a person is in the asylum process. He says this portion would be detached and must be carried with the person, even citing the law that requires immigrants to carry appropriate papers with them at all times. He isn't sure why El-Sheikh felt the need to carry all the papers because he would have been fine with just his I-94 form. And as for an I-94 form being located online, he says right now only those arriving via air and sea would fall under this program. Those arriving at a land port of entry would still receive a paper form. And even though the traveler would not receive documentation, he says they would still receive a stamp that's typically placed on a passport. He says this allows agents doing an immigration inspection to locate quickly if a person is in the United States legally.
So the Portland comedian would have been fine if he had the wallet-size I-94 form on him at the time he was questioned. And as for papers being available online, El-Sheikh would have still needed something to show his status, like his passport, which may have had that stamp. Amanda Broley, KREM 2 News.
Well, to weather, we saw dry weather today, but that likely won't stay that way for long. Tom Sherry in the Weather Center tonight tracking another round of snow this week, Tom.
Yeah, not tomorrow, thank goodness. Not tonight and not tomorrow. Might even see sunshine. I do think we'll see sunshine on your Thursday, but by the time we get to this time Friday, more snow headed our way. Current Doppler radar looking pretty darn quiet right now. As you can see, when we take a look at the current temperature, we're at 25 degrees in Spokane. Wind is out of the north right now at 6 miles per hour. Look for an overnight low of 16 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Mostly sunny skies expected on your Thursday. Still staying below freezing, though, with a daytime high of 31. By the way, the average high this time of year is 10 degrees warmer. We should be seeing highs in the low 40s right about now. As we head into the weekend, we'll look for that Friday night snow to continue into Saturday and then linger into Sunday. 32 the high on Saturday, 30 expected on Sunday. I'll check your 10-day outlook in just a few minutes.
All right, Tom, thank you. A bill to put Washington on daylight saving time all year was just heard in a committee today in Olympia. This is definitely not the first time there's been a proposal, though, to keep a year-round time.
So right now, head to KREM.com/vote or hit the Vote Now tab on the KREM 2 app and weigh in on this proposal. Meantime, KREM 2 Shana Waldtower has more on what lawmakers are hoping will help the bill get passed this time around.
All the beautiful sunlight. With the recent winter months, we haven't seen much of it lately, but a recent Senate bill could make this a little bit better by keeping daylight saving time all year long. Senate Bill 5139 was filed in January and proposed to keep daylight saving time for the entire year, instead of just from March through November. But this isn't the first time state senators have backed a bill trying to keep daylight saving time year-round. Many of the same senators on this bill also proposed one back in 2017, Bill 5329. That one didn't make it far. But this year's bill includes a bit more to get state lawmakers to put a green check on this legislation. This bill is mainly proposing to essentially keep Washington on daylight saving time, but the bill also says that in case Congress doesn't like this idea, just to put the state permanently on Mountain Standard Time. That's technically the same as Pacific Time during daylight saving time, but just reworded. The bill states that as things are right now, changing clocks back and forth each year can have some negative effects. It says the Monday following the time change often reports higher suicide rates and increased traffic accidents. State Senator Jim Honeyford, the bill's primary sponsor, says this bill was just heard in the local government committee today, but he says it still has to be reviewed and passed by the Rule Committee by this Friday for it to have a chance at passing. Now, the state senator also says that Oregon has also introduced similar legislation in hopes of passing it in that state. And then down in Florida, Senator Marco Rubio has also proposed 2 bills to Congress, one to keep Florida on daylight saving time and another just to keep the entire U.S. on daylight saving time for the entire year. In Spokane, Shana Waldtower, KREM 2 News.